let's get into this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something everyone, literally everyone, does, but maybe finds it a bit tricky to talk about clearly, especially in English: cleaning the house.
It sounds so basic, doesn't it? Just pick up a cloth. But actually, when you think about all the different things you do, the tools, how often you do them, the language needed, it gets surprisingly detailed.
It really does, and that's why this source material we're digging into today is so useful. It's aimed squarely at English learners, that sort of B1, B2 intermediate level, and it uses cleaning, this everyday thing, to build up core vocabulary and, well, confidence.
Right. It's called English Conversations, Cleaning the House. And the clever part is how it wraps the language learning around something so relatable.
Mm-hmm. So our goal here in this deep dive is really to pull out the key bits of language from this material. What are the essential words, the phrases you really need? We want to sort of extract the core concepts so you can quickly get comfortable talking about keeping your place clean.
Yeah. And understand the way it teaches, too. Because it doesn't just throw words at you.
No, exactly. The structure is great because it kind of follows how you might naturally approach cleaning, right? Starts general, then specific chores, then real conversation, practical tips. It really shows how language is just, well, part of everyday life.
It sort of treats cleaning like its own little language world.
Okay, so where does the material start us off? It jumps right in with something fundamental: frequency. How often are you actually doing this stuff?
Daily tidying versus maybe less frequent big cleans.
And straight away, it introduces some key vocabulary related to that.
Right, you get fundamental verbs tied to the level of cleaning. First up, to tidy up. That's just generally making a place look neat, right? Not scrubbing, just putting things away.
Putting things in order. Then you have wipe down. That's more specific, cleaning a surface, usually with a cloth.
Yeah.
Like kitchen counters, maybe a table.
Yeah. And mop the floor. Pretty clear what that involves. A mop, water, covering larger floor areas.
And then the big one: deep clean.
Ah, yes, the deep clean. That's not your everyday task. It implies a really thorough, intensive session, getting into all the corners.
What the source does so well here, I think, is connected straight back to the learner. It basically asks you to think about your own routine. How often do you tidy up? When was your last deep clean?
Exactly. That personal link helps the vocabulary sink in, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So it starts broad with frequency and general actions. Then the source gets more specific. It dives into the actual tasks, the chores.
This is where we get those core verbs for common household jobs, and it lists them out clearly.
Like what?
Well, you've got do the dishes. Interesting how it's often do, not just wash, although you can say wash. English uses do for a lot of tasks.
Yeah, like do the laundry as well for washing clothes. That's another one it lists.
And vacuum the floor using that specific tool. Then take out the rubbish, which is, putting the trash outside or in the bin.
Simple, everyday stuff. What else?
Dust the shelves, clearing dust off surfaces, and maybe the one people dislike most, scrub the toilet.
Ugh. Yes.
And the source is precise here. It defines scrub as cleaning thoroughly with a brush and cleaner. It highlights that extra effort involved in scrubbing.
And it doesn't just list them, does it? It gives examples.
Crucially, yes. Simple sentences that put the words into context, like, I need to do the laundry today. I've run out of clean socks.
Oh, that phrase "run out of" is so useful. You use that for everything, not just socks.
Exactly. Or simple requests like, can you take out the rubbish before dinner? You hear that in houses all the time.
True.
And maybe something like, I scrubbed the bathroom for half an hour. It's just you can add details like how long it took. They're not just definitions, they're mini scenarios.
Okay, so we've got frequency, general actions, specific chores with examples, but then it does something really clever, I think. It moves beyond lists.
Yeah, this is where it gets really practical. It includes a sort of sample conversation about cleaning.
Which is key, right? Because language isn't just words it's words you use with other people.
Totally. And it shows how these words naturally appear in a chat. Like the conversation kicks off with someone noticing, your place looks amazing. Have you been cleaning? A very normal way to start that topic.
And the reply uses those verbs we just talked about, but in the past tense, naturally, something like, I've been cleaning all morning, I vacuumed, dusted the shelves, and even scrubbed the bathroom. See? Listing the completed tasks.
And the conversation in the source goes deeper. It touches on preferences, someone mentioning their least favorite chore, often the bathroom.
Always the bathroom.
Seems like it. But also maybe a favorite chore. The example mentions liking laundry, maybe the smell, or finding folding clothes kind of meditative.
I like that detail. It makes it feel authentic. And it also mentions other habits, right? Like cleaning while listening to music or podcasts.
Yes. And strategies for chores you don't like. The example was about dishes. I hate dishes, but I do them right away so they don't pile up.
Oh, pile up. That's another great phrase. You can just picture the dirty dishes stacking up.
Exactly. It paints a really clear image. So this section really highlights that talking about cleaning involves more than just actions. It's feelings, habits, strategies. The language is richer.
Okay, building on that natural conversation idea, the source then focuses specifically on phrasal verbs, which, let's be honest, are everywhere in spoken English,
Yeah.
especially for tasks like cleaning.
Oh, absolutely essential. And they can be tricky for learners. So the source picks out some really key ones for cleaning.
Like,
Well, clean up, which is generally tidying or cleaning completely, and wipe down, we saw that earlier, for surfaces.
right, and throw out, that connects back to taking out the rubbish, putting things in the bin.
Then pick up,
Yeah.
often used for tidying things off the floor. And sort out, which means to organize or arrange things, like maybe sorting out your cleaning supplies.
And again, it provides clear examples for these.
Yes, definitely. Things like, we need to clean up before guests arrive. Very common situation.
No.
Or, I'll throw out the old newspapers. Simple, direct. Or, can you wipe down the table after dinner? Specific task, specific time. And I need to sort out the cleaning supplies, dealing with the tools themselves. The source rightly points out how common these are in everyday chat about housework.
That makes sense. Then the source kind of loops back to practical advice, but frames it as language practice.
Yeah, it offers actual cleaning tips, but they also serve as context for using the vocabulary. It's quite smart.
So what are some of these tips?
Tip 1 is clean as you go. A nice little phrase meaning, don't let mess build up. Clean continuously.
Good advice and good phrase.
Tip 2, make a cleaning schedule. Introduces planning, maybe doing one task per day. Tip 3 mentions using natural cleaners, vinegar, lemon, so you learn specific item names.
Okay.
Tip 4 is listening to music or podcasts while cleaning. We heard that in the conversation example too. And tip 5 is about getting the whole family involved, teamwork.
So these tips aren't just tips, they're scenarios for using the language, talking about how you clean, when, with whom.
Exactly, reinforcing the vocabulary in practical situations.
And finally, to make sure it all sinks in, the source includes a sort of mini review section.
Yes, like a quick quiz almost. It circles back to check understanding of the core ideas.
What kinds of things does it ask?
Basic recall, really. Like, what does scrub the toilet mean? Just checking you got the meaning of scrub cleaning very well with a brush, etc.
Reinforcing the key definition.
And testing those phrasal verbs again. What's a phrasal verb for putting things in the bin? Making sure you remember throw out.
Gotcha.
And it loops back to that personal connection again, asking something like, what's your least favorite chore? Prompting you to use the vocabulary yourself. It just solidifies the main takeaways.
Okay, so let's pull back. We've gone through this source material pretty thoroughly. What are the main things we've sort of unpacked here?
Well, we've seen how it systematically builds up vocabulary. Starting with general habits, moving to specific actions, showing those actions in a real conversation, focusing on crucial phrasal verbs, and even linking it to practical tips.
It takes this really common, mundane task cleaning and reveals just how much specific language is actually involved.
And it really hammers home the idea that language learning isn't just about textbooks or abstract concepts. It happens right there in the middle of everyday life, talking about routine things.
Definitely. Which kind of leads to a final thought, doesn't it? We've just spent time looking at all the verbs, phrasal verbs, idioms, packed into just cleaning a house. Think about that. So here's something to consider. What other routine parts of your day, things that seem simple on the surface, might actually be full of specific, useful language if you just started to notice and name the actions involved?